This
We're recording.
conference will now be recorded.
And the reason why we recorded, if you have anyone that wants to, review the call from today, or share it with one of your staff members. So it'll be, I'll give you information of where you can find it. So Eileen, any opening remarks before I get going?
I just want to remind everyone that Publicity Speed Dating is at Caroline's Comedy Club on Tuesday, February 25th. 9:30 a.m. is check-in. Your first appointment will be at 10:15 a.m. You will be all done and exhausted at 4:15 p.m.
Did you get on?
All right. I hear some background noise, so I'm going to do my best to shut that.
And if everyone can mute their computers or phones, that would be great.
Okay. All right, so let's get started. So what Eileen said about getting to speed dating, it is a long day. It is, time away from the store. But I have to impress upon you that the time away is productive. It is an opportunity to be in front of all these publishers in one spot, and to really get focused on your goals for your events. So I really feel like it's always been worth my while to travel, by train or bus or even the ferry sometimes, and take a whole day to be out of the office. And I always appreciate what NAIBA does and Eileen does to keep it organized and beneficial to everyone, the publishers, the authors that come to visit, and also the stores. So that's my testimonial for it. I think it's great. So we're going to just see here. My name is Maribeth. For those who don't know me, I am an event planner at Booktown. Booktown is located in Manasquan, New Jersey. We are an all year round community. One of the things that I always have to impress upon the publishers is that we are not seasonal. So I go through great lengths in my story about us to let them know that we have events all year round. I've been the event planner there for over 9 years, and we do about 50 larger, mid-sized to large events a year now, and we've grown this from zero. When Rita was the previous owner, she owned the store, there was no event program in place, so we kind of developed it together. And from there, I've learned some ways that are a little helpful for anyone that is coming new into event programming for a bookstore. And I want to just share what I've learned along the way. So some of the tips that I'm going to share today are good for people who are new to owning a bookstore and setting up an event author program. And also it's a good reminder for those who are already doing events, and just to remember who our audience is and what we're trying to do at speed dating, and also when we talk with the publishers. So Booktown has its challenges, of course. One of them I mentioned is that we are a short community, but we're all year round. We have a small store, 1,000 square feet. So a lot of our in-store events are small, as far as like children events or small book clubs discussions. So it's really important for us to develop off-site partnerships with other venues. So that has been really a focus on how we were able to grow and leverage our programs. So I wanted to also let you know that NAIBA, if you're not familiar with the resources that they offer on their website, there is a page specifically dedicated for press kits. So if you're starting out, or if we want to revamp your press kit, you can get a lot of good ideas on the website. And this is where they're stored. And there's a list of all the stores that have submitted theirs to Eileen. And it's always a good idea to make sure that you have your most updated one on their website. And also, I know that the publishers do go there if they're looking for a one-stop shopping, trying to, if they met you and they want to look through our region and see some of our bookstores and what they're about, this is a good place to make sure that you have your current press kit listed. One of the things I always try to emphasize is that, you don't want to copy your colleagues' press kit, but you do want to model what you like. So, and apply it to, put your spin on it for your store, because it's important for you to be able to distinguish yourself amongst your other colleagues that are going to be in the same room on speed dating. We're all doing the same thing. We all want to sell books. and we all want to put on a great event and make an impression on the publisher. So it's all equal ground with that. But you want to be able to distinguish yourself. What makes your store unique? So it's important for you to look at what you like on those other press kits and then kind of put your own spin on it for your own store. I also have a press kit checklist that I put together, and that is also on the NAIBA website. It's periodically updated. For the most part, these are steps that you want to make sure you have in place for your press kit, especially if you're starting out. If you're putting one together for the first few years of your store, you just follow this basic guideline. As you get more developed and advanced in your author programming, you're gonna be able to, you don't have to include all of these. But I just feel like when you're starting out and trying to prove yourself to the publisher, it's important to not overlook some of these items. Also, like I mentioned, this webinar is recorded and it will be stored under NAIBA Books channel on YouTube. So you can look at it you can look there in a few days after this call. We'll post it to the channel, and also you can look back. Again, I emphasize it's a good use for your staff. So as we've been plugging, speed dating is definitely worth your time for someone in your staff. I always like to recommend that if you can go with someone, a partner from the store, especially if it's someone who is not necessarily involved with events, maybe they're just they're in sales on the floor, and you want them to understand a little bit more about what it means to be doing events and running a bookstore. In the relationship with the publisher, it's a really good way to expose someone who is like interested in learning more about the bookstore, to bring them onto a speed dating appointment if there's room and you can afford that time away. I think it's always given them more of a holistic, other staff members that I brought in, it's given them a more holistic view of what goes into place to planning events and bringing in authors. So why a press kit? Like I said, you have an opportunity to speak to publishers in one room for a short period of time. You want to be very efficient with your conversation, and you also want to leave them with a document that helps reiterate the points that you want to emphasize for your store for this year. Now, I say for this year because this document is ever evolving over the time since we kind of come up with this template, and also as you develop your program. So there's going to be some things I'm adding this year that I didn't say last year, because there's things that I actually learned through the year. So I'm always trying to figure out how to tweak this document to make it as powerful as possible and make an impact and impression on the audience that's going to be reading it. So again, it's a promo tool for publishers, publicity contacts, authors, media bloggers, anyone who you want, again, to understand what your store is able to bring to the table as far as helping an author or helping a media publishing content site, either in print or on the radio or a podcast or a blogger. You can provide information to them as far as like collaborating on author events, collaborating on book talks, collaborating on maybe sharing story time information. So it is a tool for different people. For this purpose, for this call, I really emphasize it. Remember that we're talking to publishers who work with bookstores around the country. So we want to be very careful that we put information on this document that they're going to be interested in. And again, I always say it's not a memoir about your store. As much as it's always interesting and fun to learn, you can always use that information off the document when you're establishing a rapport with your publisher or the publicity contact. But when you come to this document, I really want everything to earn its real estate on this piece of paper or on the pages that you have. Again, it's a training tool, so your staff or your volunteers that work with your store understand what your store is about and what they're trying to do to make themselves stand out and give people a reason to come to the store, experience the events, experience the store in itself, and how you're trying to differentiate yourself. So it's a good training tool for everyone who is you want to make sure that they get absorbed into the culture of your store. Again, it's a marketing tool if you're trying to establish collaborations with new partners. Again, for us, it's very important for us to be able to show proof of what we're able to do when we're trying to initiate conversations with a venue partner. So we use this document as well. Again, I say a proof because lately I feel like this document has been able to prove over the years that we've been developing the program, the event author program at Booktown, it's been a tool for me to prove that we are able to operate on larger events. We are able to show results. You know, we have systems in place. We have a staff that understands the system. We plugged in software. So anyway, all the details that go into putting on an event at the level that we're at right now, and we're still always growing, is important for me to express that in the document. And again, going back to people who are just starting, don't be overwhelmed with these advanced tips, but just keep them in mind, because your event program is like a tiered level. You start out, it's say like in-store, and then you move on to like larger, you know, where the store is busting, you know, with standing room only in your store, and then you move on to like maybe a larger venue. So you do build up your events program every year, and I've learned that. And looking at today's press kits, I almost see like where the next level can be for these stores. So we're going to go over some of those advanced tips on the press kit that'll show proof that you're able to move to the next level in your in your author programs. Again, when you're preparing these documents, know your audience. The publicity people who we're going to be talking to are working with hundreds of stores. At one point, they probably all blur together. So you have to help them understand where you are on the map, how far you are from the major hub cities, which authors would be the best fit for you. So you really have to educate them most of the time. You know, as you develop your author programs and your relationships with your publishers, they'll know where you are, and you know, you won't have to have that elementary type conversation. But it's very important. I find at speed dating that most people don't know where Manasquan, New Jersey is, and so I have to give them kind of like an idea of distance of driving and what I'm close to as far as Philly and New York, because those are the big hub cities. So I really make sure that I'm not assuming they know where I am. And also, just one more point on this, formatting is going to be important when I'm reviewing the press kits. It's important for these documents to be scannable and readable. So all the information is going to be basically handed to the person who's going to be reading it, especially in publicity. Okay, so what to include and what not to include, that's what we're going to go through today. The basics, okay? Again, these are reminders, so make sure when you get elaborate with, say you have someone who's really into graphic design and they get really elaborate with your document, make sure you're not overlooking the basics of your press kit, okay? For example, event contact information, make sure that that's super clear and up at the top or apparent. Your store address and where you are, okay? Eileen always likes to emphasize a reminder that when you're naming your document, you're going to attach it to an email. Make sure that the document name is proper and clear for your store, not just Press Kit 2020, because that could be anyone's press kit in the nation. So you just want to make sure it says, you know, Colgate Bookstore Press Kit 2020. Okay. Keep it brief. So you just want to make sure that you always give it a once over, an audit check, have someone else read it in your store. Or, you know, me or Eileen, we can give it a quick review to make sure that it doesn't get too wordy and that the information is kind of easy to put it's at your fingertips. I went over this. Formatting is key. You'll see some in my review. I'll be talking about bolding and bullets and maybe just reducing the length of a paragraph, because again, they're looking at this in minutes. They're in their minds, they have one question: how can you help me sell more books for my author? Okay, so when you come to speed dating, you're going to be with several publishers. Eileen will clarify how many copies, but about 35 to 40 sometimes is a general number. She'll let us know what is needed, and I always like to bring extra copies as well. And if you are coming with a partner to the discussions and you're going to be at the same table, or if you're going to be splitting, you know, you want to have enough for those people as well. Or on the other side, if the publisher has two people at their table, you just don't want to hand them one press kit. You want to hand each of them at the table two, you know, one each. And so then you can go through it and use it as a tool for your discussion. I want to just pass on the tip at the bottom. It's like, be careful. The room that we use for Caroline's is dim lighting. So I've learned that a dark colored background with like, the font isn't really easy to read. So be careful that the font isn't too small and that it's on colors that are not restricting it from being easily read in this dim lighting. So it's a comedy club. And so it is a great place to have the event because of the way we move around in the tables, but it is low lighting. Okay, I've talked about this. Feature your best selling points. Okay, so make sure they stand out and they're clear and you really boast about them. And they can be events, it can be community that you live in, like what you're known for and how the community supports the bookstore. Again, always tying it back to how this sells books. Partnerships, the location, especially if you're going to be easy to get to. Even if you're further from a hub city, just lay out an easy path for an author to travel to your store. If you offer pickup at a local station or an airport, if that's something you do, or you're willing to send an Uber, just kind of put those things in there and make it easy for them to know that it's not going to be difficult getting an author from their offices or from their house to your store. Okay, again, awards, staff, any type of media features that you've had, remember to put those in that help you stand out. Okay, and you're being recognized in the community. All right, so you're going to highlight your events and you're going to highlight even your non-author events. So you want to make sure that you're doing this small. Even if you have large events all year round, so you're up to say 200, make sure that if you have a consistent series of events like a story time or a book club or a poetry club, make sure that you're putting these series or things that are scheduled continually in your press kit to show that you have a standing. It's worth it for you to have this event on your calendar because you have a standing audience. I just mentioned this. Include non-author events, book clubs. For book clubs, also mention what type of book clubs and the titles that you're reading. Book clubs are back in vogue, so make sure that you are definitely highlighting the activity that's going on in those book clubs. Also, a lot of stores are doing subscription boxes, so add that to your list and the titles that you're putting in. Okay, so I've been, again, always looking for trends in what the publishers want in events, and you can kind of pick that up in advice or in your discussions or in just your colleagues. Like if you've, come back from Winter Institute and you hear what the trends are in events, make sure you're looking at how you can fold in those trends to your store's author programs, okay? Right now for us, I'm noticing the trend is going to be ticketed bundled. It just seems like that's the next requirement for us to make sure that we have enough of those. So again, in just this week, I had a publisher check on our social media and our website to make sure that we were promoting an event. So I really encourage you to make sure that you are posting what's going to be happening. And also, of course, your website's going to be up to date, but make sure if you're having any venue partners that they are using that link. If it's a ticket event, you're sharing that link and the images are the same. Make sure that the copy is kind of the same on your venue partner's website and yours, you know what I'm saying? So, I was just, I knew that the publishers do check on us, but we did have something that wasn't up right away. So we had to get, we had to figure out what was going on and why wasn't that on the website. Anyway, the short of the long is that the event was up within a few hours, but it was just like, didn't want to be called out like that from the publisher. So make sure that you go through your system of when you're going to be promoting events and you get all your information up on the social media, on the website, and also that system's in place. And you talk about your social media on your press kit because they want to see it's growing. You want to see that it's growing. You want to see that you're growing followers, that you want to see that your email that you're sending out to your list is growing each year. And each year that you update your press kit, you want to see those numbers popping up. So I offer feedback service to anyone if they are taking notes and they're not sure if you know, what to do. Well, I hear some background news. I'm gonna see if I can get that. Okay. So if everyone could just mute their call, I hear some more background news. I just want to make sure the recording of this call is clear. And I can't tell where that is coming from. So getting back to how you can, if you're starting out, or if you even have a Presskit and you made some revamped a lot of changes and you want someone else to look at it, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to do that. It really doesn't take that much time. I've been looking at things for a long time, and I can kind of pick out and give you a few tweaks just to make it, you know, ready for speed dating. So reach out to me, and I'll give you my contact information later in this call. So I'm going to start the reviews, and the first one is Colgate Bookstore, and I still hear some background music noise. So let me see if I can apologize. Oh. Okay, hopefully I'm not muted. And before I go on, let me just check with Kit. Is there anything in the chat? Let's see. Okay. I'm just looking because I probably mute Kit.
You're good, Mary Beth.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, so we're gonna start. I have I'm gonna pull up the Presskit for Colgate. Now I've reviewed Colgate for before, and I think they've done a nice job. It's such an impressive building, and I like that they have they've promoted that building in itself. It's very memorable. They definitely have someone who's interested in graphic design, so I'm just going to scroll through the pages. So we're at 3 pages. Now, length is definitely something that I like to comment on. I love 2 pages, but 3 pages is acceptable as long as it's justified. My comments with Colgate, because I reviewed them and they really followed a lot of the feedback, so I'm really liking their Presskit. I just wanted to point out here that, you know, they have this nice headline, who they are, but every single all these sentences in here are all equal in the sense that nothing's really bolded and popping out. And again, remember, I'm scanning this, and I'll go back and read the detail later. But I wanted to just highlight that this was owned by the university. I think that is just making them, you know, making the publisher understand, okay, so it's part of the university campus. I think that's an interesting, it could be a way, it could help them understand how events would be scheduled at this store. I don't know, but I thought that should be popped out. There could be a reason why they haven't. On their second page, again, I'm looking at formatting and I'm just saying, okay, so all this is really great text, but if I'm looking at this quickly at speed dating, I want some things to help me to pop out. And I thought I could just use this section here to tell me exactly where you were. Okay, again, educating on geography. And this paragraph too, it's important for me to know how to get my authors to you, or at least it's the publishers. The publishers want to know how I'm going to get there. And then they do have the drive times, and I would bullet this so it's super easy for me to understand this, okay? And they do have quite a drive here, but that's okay because we can figure that out. And you can also, in conversation, Colgate, you can tell them, you could help them map out a tour if they're not familiar with the area, or how the best way to get an author to you and maximize their sending an author out on the road. Okay, so that could be something you could do off you know, the document in your conversation with the publisher. Again, I'm looking at formatting here, and we have a strong relationship with many colleges. So again, are these venue partners? Bold that at least and have that stand out, and you can point to this area of the document and bring it up when you're talking about events that would have to be for some reason at another school, or how this benefits book sales. Okay, so do these cross promote for you? Does it bring other book buyers to your events? Why don't you bold that and explain that a little bit more? So these are all formatting comments. Again, here, they collaborate with the following organizations. I think this should be bulleted, and I would like to know, again, what they do for you to expand the awareness of your events and book sales. Again, that's the goal here. And if there are any of these partners that you collaborate with that you have events at, bullet them and put the occupancy so I can see if there's something outside of the store that we have an opportunity to work with. Okay. Going to this, whoops. Let's see, that was, wait, is it 4 pages? Oh, it is 4 pages. It's 4 pages. So again, I think it's on the longer side. The person that has designed this did a beautiful job. So, you may want to look at, what can be cut. There are a lot of photos here. So I think this is a beautiful document. I wouldn't say that these are not helpful. Is it mostly kids that you do, kid events? If you have larger events with audiences, maybe I would add something with those type of events in the photos. Again, this is the page that I think is most helpful to the publisher. So let me look at my notes here. So again, I like to see this right away. I want to see the recent events. And I would like to know, or at least I would like to know your sales, and also if I was the publisher, and also I would like to know, your sales if they were ticketed. So again, here, this is an advanced tip because I'm noticing that I need to share this information on the ready with the publisher. They want to know if it's a ticket event and does that include the book. So you could asterisk some of them and then put a key down here, or you could add a column and just let them know that these are ticketed, included the book, okay? Because you have some nice size events here. And what is the, my question to you is, when you're preparing this document, you have all this great information about the store, and their social media is on fire. I don't know if you follow them, but they're really great. Where do you want to go with your events? So I would, again, overall in this whole document, I would say have an undercurrent of strategy to this and saying, okay, where do I want to go with my events? Do I want to move to the 300, 500? Am I happy with what I am? Do I want to perfect ticketed if these aren't ticketed? What do you want to do with your events? And then make that, re-engineer that and fold that strategy back into your document. So overall, it's long. It has a lot of graphics. It's very attractive to look at, so there's nothing wrong with that. But if you were going to go for brevity, maybe there's some things that you can cut out. And I would also, I would mix up your types of photos if you have them for your events. Do you have more adult, or do you have larger events and you show me a picture of all those people in an event venue? Okay.
Mary Beth, there was a question. What program do you recommend for making press kits? The person who asked is using InDesign.
Oh, InDesign is lovely. It's really great to work with if you know how to use it, right? Not necessary, of course, if you don't have those skills or that software. So I am never promoting one, graphic software over another. Because I am not a designer, I have used whatever comes in my Pages templates, and also I use Canva, canva.com. Sometimes they have some nice, really nice program templates that we can just, tweak for your store and give you a head start on it. So I hope that helps. But again, you can work just from a Word document. Yeah, don't feel pressured if you're, for new stores, you're not feeling like you have that capacity yet. Okay, good. All right, so moving on, we have, just gonna close this one. So next is tick combs, and this was I was really happy with this press kit. Again, I'm gonna just show you it completely different, right? Document, it's not graphically designed in some fancy software. It just looks like a regular document to me. And but what I liked about it, it had all the information I wanted at my fingertips. So I'm going to skip this for now, this top section up here. I'm going to come back to that. But down here on their we can offer, Cape Codders, you know, it's a literary group. So right here, it's bulleted. They bolded within the sentences what I need to know. And I also, again, for Tacombe's bookshop, I would definitely highlight that it's a literary group. Okay, again, I'm looking at to see who's going to be buying books. I liked that this was a year-round population. I can relate to that. And it also increases to 500,000, so over summertime. So again, my question would be to them, are you only scheduling authors through summertime, or is that the bulk of it? That would be a discussion I would be ready to have, so the authors, I mean the publishers, know when you're scheduling the most. Okay. I just like how they've listed all this information. I think it's very helpful. You know, some anecdotes, warm and welcoming atmosphere, and I definitely picked that up on their press kit. So, you know, what distinguishes them? And we're all warm and welcoming, right? But the fact that they put it out there and they show these pictures, that, I don't know, I just thought that they did a good job on this. So here they have the on-site seating. So they have the in-store capacity, right? Then they have this outside. So I like that they have those opportunities, you know, those venues available. And I just wanted to make sure, yeah, okay, so then I like how they list the relationships here with the occupancy key. I have actually had conversations where I was like, you know, pitching an author, and I was pointing to the venue that I want them to consider for, you know, when they're scheduling their author. So I even mark it up with my pen just so they can go back when they get back to their desk in New York and be like, oh yeah, that's right, they wanted this store, wanted this author, and they were thinking about it for this venue. Okay, you just want to help them to recall your store. Over here as well, you know, they have the contact information at the ready. They have social media. I mean, that's amazing, their size of their email list. So, and again, nice pictures. I'm going to scroll here. Okay. So they have the classic chart here that shows their sales. And let's see what my notes are on this. I was just going to add an advanced suggestion about, like, where are you going with these events? Do you want them to be, do you want more ticketed events this year? What are you trying to achieve? And if so, show some proof. So if you're looking to get more ticketed events, let me know what you've done in ticketed events, okay? And also I would add on here, maybe add the venue that you've been working with, if it's in store or not. Just so they can visualize, like, you know, do you have the systems in place to be working with an outside venue? There's definitely more systems that are needed in operations versus an in-store one, okay? And yeah, add the, so I've been calling it the revenue model. What kind of revenue model are you having? If it's ticketed, indicate that in your chart. I liked, now this is something that I said it early on in the beginning days of when we were doing a press kit. I did have a map, and at times I've said, you know, you don't need the map as long as you put the miles and everything. But I don't know, for some reason I thought this is a great visual, because then they can see exactly where they have to get their author and the distance, because they may think that it's an actual island, you know, they just may not be familiar with the area when you're talking to the publicist. So, you know, I think it illustrates exactly where they are. And again, I love how they're unique, and they use the statue here to do their author pictures. It's really great, a lot of fun. And they have some good, you know, recognition for their store. It's nice. Okay, so I was thinking in this section for Cape Cod, I like this question right here. Do your author's vacation on the Cape? I think that could be your header, and then put the rest below, because what they're doing here is they're helping them, the publishers, map out, like, if you're going to send your author all the way out here, here are some other stores that can make your tour worthwhile, that I guess are not going to sabotage one another on that tour. So I like that camaraderie. I like that professionalism in helping them map out a tour in their area. All right, so also they go into their monthly book club, and this is a lot of books through a book club. So I would definitely want to know more about that. And again, how it can help. We can look at 2020 and look at how we can expand on that, or, you know, get more authors to your group. So what I wanted to, my comment on this area was like, what titles are you reading? I don't know if it needs to be in this, but is it at least adult? Is it, you know, poetry? What kind of monthly book clubs are there? And, you know, again, they just put these other tidbits here that are blocked off and in sections so I can easily read them. So their formatting is very helpful. The only thing is just make sure that this color and this black is not too dark for that dim room, but because I've done this exact thing, but maybe a little bit darker, so you could be fine. But I'm just, you know, heeding warning there. Again, I love this. I love how they're using this statue with their authors. And yeah, this was a good talking point as well, just to highlight, you know, how you got that and how you work with that as far as getting people to make sure that they stop by your store. Are you a destination for the island, for the area when you're in the summer? You know, how do you promote that? Okay. And it's 2 pages. And so they really pack it, right? Wait, it's okay, it's 2 pages, but it comes across as 4. So again, for whoever is designing this or picking it up, get rid of these blank pages. Okay. All right, let's just reduce this and let's see, is there anything in the chat? Let's see, anything. All clear, okay. 3. Okay. People's Book Culture. Okay, let me look at this one. So again, they're starting out, I think they're revamping, right? Because there's a name change and I don't know if there's owner change, but it's going to be, I've seen the Penn Book Center, and so this is totally different. So they're starting from, like, I guess, revamping their Presskit, and they're going to be adding photos and other areas that they know they need to plug in. I've got an email from them. But I guess what I wanted to say is that as you're going through you're developing your Presskit, just make sure that it's super clear where you are in the area that you're trying to, you know, kind of, you know, be an active member in. So the West Philly area. And again, Philly, make sure that you are talking about the media that you have access to for your events. So again, I know that that's just been a point of conversation with the publishers. It's just like, okay, well, what media have you been using to make aware? So make sure you, for Philadelphia-based areas, add that to your Presskit or at least to your discussion. And for the most part, I think this Presskit is going to be fine. I'd like to know, there's a lot of text, but they did try to bullet it and bold it for me, so it was easy to read. We host a variety of reoccurring events series, so I'd like to know more about that. What does that mean as far as book sales and attendance? And so I would probably break apart that. Again, I'd like to know past events. So to make this a proof document of proof, show me what you've done in the past. So again, that chart or any way you want to format it, just give me some past events that you've been working on. And again, fold in what your goal is and then build this document around it, okay? There was another comment in here that I saw that you, your partnerships allow you to assist to covering the travel of visiting authors and whatnot. So I think that's a little bit different than most stores. So why don't you talk about that, at least to be on the ready. I don't think you have to outline in this document, but I think that helps distinguish you from some others that have access to that kind of money. But I think
and if I can make one comment, it's not the NAIBA reporting, it's the indie bestseller list.
Okay, so just an important comment up here, right here. Yeah, make sure you quote the right reporting sites, and also make sure that it's for other stores who are just starting out, that you are a reporting New York Times store. It does make a big difference in getting authors scheduled because they want those sales reported. So make sure that that is evident on your Presskit, not just in conversation, it is on your Presskit. I think that's all I have here. I think when People's Books and Culture come back with another version, I'd like to see it, okay? But I think you get the gist and you are plugging in some of the important information. I think you can just have to elaborate it. So I think you're on the right path.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so we're going to Bravo's Books Nook. Okay, so this is a new store. And again, not a fancy document, right? Just going through there, that's 2 pages. And again, when I was reading it, help me out with, who you are and where you are. So I would somehow format this so this is not all the same, but that these are the owners. And yeah, I was trying to figure out, like, okay, so you're in the theater and it is owned, so it's not owned by the theater. I think that's what I was just wanted to clarify in my head. If I was the publisher, I was like, okay, who am I dealing with and where are you at? And you're connected to a 200-seat theater. Great. So as you're developing your author programs, you want to figure out what this connection means for book sales, okay? And a lot of my comments are kind of focused around that. So they have these sections broken out. I think they can change them a little bit because some of it is a little bit redundant in this paragraph and repeated down here, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just that maybe they can use this space a little bit, bring in some other important information about the store. So you tell me where you are. You're in this historic section and you're off the lobby. You're in the lobby of the theater. Okay. So in my mind, I was wondering if you had signage. That was my note here. Do you have street signage so people who are walking by will stroll into the store? So be ready for that conversation, how foot traffic comes in. So the facility, again, there's some repeating details here. So, you have it up here. Why are you repeating it? Is it helping with sales? Or I know you're just probably developing your program, but, figure out if there's in-store, is there in-store area for events? That would be helpful to know because I already know that you're off the theater.
And the typo in facility.
Yes. Yep. And let's see here. So again, you're talking about the patrons of the theater. So when you're building this document, make sure this is emphasizing the store, the store's mission, the store's objectives for building events. What do you want? And even if you don't have events, okay, under your belt yet, or think about some non-author events that you can start up or that are in place or just in their infancy, mention them. So I see proof of, yeah, we're putting these systems in place to get people to come in outside of the theater hours. And exactly how does that happen? And those are the things I would want to know if I was looking at this from the publisher's point of view. So again, know your audience when you're putting this document together. I think that's going to be the most important feedback for you right now, is that I feel like there's a lot about the theater and I'm not sure how it's going to convert to sales. I know that you possibly have that venue available to you, but so how do you schedule that? Like, what is the availability of that theater if I am looking to put in an author in front of 200 people? Also, down here in the marketing, 600 patrons, is that your list or is that someone's list that you're tagging on? I'd like to know if you have control over sending messages to that list on a regular. I didn't go to your social media, so I didn't have a chance to do that, but I wanted to know more about your your media. So you seem to be in the theater hub. What do you have available as far as media, whether print, radio, podcast, bloggers? Who do you have a relationship with that will help spread the word of an event at your store or theater? And are you only, again, so you're using the theater, and how are people getting to know that there's a bookstore in there? And also, how far ahead do we need to book with you, the publisher? How far ahead do they have to book with you? Do you have to coordinate with the theater schedule? So again, remove any doubt from the publisher's mind when they're reading this that oh, there's going to be a lot of complications, or there's a lot, I have to be like, you know, a full year out from planning an author event with you. Just clarify that. That's the one thing I want to make sure when you're building these documents, that you're removing any doubt, any questions. So the questions that came up, I had a lot with this one because it's an interesting, unique location, which I think is great. There's a lot of opportunity with this, you know, the theater and the music and the culture in this area, but I want to know how this is going to be smoothed out and made efficient for selling books. Okay. Oh, our list. Okay. Wow. Okay. So you can publish. So Michael from the Store of Bravos is just texting in the chat saying that this is his list. So that's cool. So you have access to that. That's impressive. And that is definitely a distinguishing, to me, a distinguishing aspect for the store. You have a lot of patrons. So now, again, I would just say, if they're active and they're responding to your messaging, you know, that's great. That really is a feather in your cap there. We own the theater. Those are our patrons. Okay, awesome. So again, see, Michael, I have these questions and I need them ironed out because I only have so many minutes, like maybe 8 minutes with you, and I want to better understand the store. So if the scheduling is not a big deal, you have access to the scheduling and you can fit in authors easily. This is great. Okay, so I hope that helps, Michael. Please reach out to me if you are giving this another review, another cut at this, okay? Some photos would be good too. Oh no, they're on the back, I'm sorry. Yeah, they are right here. Okay, so again, I'm always telling people I'd like to see a filled room, but this does give me the size and the dimension and where the author would typically be on an event like this. So it helps me understand that we're going to be doing larger events here in this venue more, you know, very comfortably. Okay. All right, I hope that helps. That one's exciting to me. I think that's neat. Great, so let's see. Next one is Astoria. I've reviewed Astoria a few times. I think they've always done well with the feedback, and they have a lot to offer as well. Their store is busy in a great neighborhood. So just so I can scan this for everyone, this is 2 pages, okay? Not a fancy document, laid out, formatted, so I can scan and read. Their fast facts are good. It is getting a little wordy in here and the font's getting small, so make sure that you comb this out and make sure that, you know, every point is still current, and that, you know, like 2015, you may want to pull that one or just take out the year or use this in another way. But just, yeah, give it a once over, bring it up to date, 2020. But as far as layout and everything, I think it's fine. It works well for reading it quickly. I like down here that they have the capacity of their partnerships, okay? And so they have this access, you know, a venue for 65. And again, I'm looking at tiers. So I'm like, okay, what does the store offer? What is the next size event that we could do outside the store? And which venue would that be? You know what I'm saying? So again, I'm tiering the types of events that you're building in your author program. Up here in this paragraph, this is again getting wordy up here, but the bookshop host sponsors variety of story time. So I think in here, I would want this broken out now. If you've been doing this for several years, break it out and let me know what's going on, like how many people are attending story time. Again, are we selling books? These series that are running on the regular consistently and are selling books for you, pull them out of this paragraph and let them stand out, okay? You can probably take out some of these quotes. You can change a little bit of this, put this over here. The social media may be on the back or over here along this space, okay? Just to highlight, again, what you've proven. Use this document as proof of what you've been producing. So on the back here, okay, the standard chart, which is always easy to read, okay, and their past events. I always, again, would like to know where it is now. So if you're looking to build your audience, okay, so maybe you're looking to go into the more of 100 person attendees, okay, and that's where you want to add a few more in the year. Then show me what you've got in place for that. Is that going to be in store? Is that going to be the venues? Do the venue partners that you want to work with that would be able to hold 100, is that already in place? The contract, the agreement, whatever it is. Do you have open calendar months to schedule that, or do you have to work so many months in advance? These are questions that if I knew your goal, your strategy for 2020, then show me some, proof on where you want to head. Okay, but otherwise, I think it's great. I hope this document has been working for you. Have some really nice events and some good numbers. So keep it going. Good work. Let's see, and I just want to see contact information. Yep, up on the top. Okay. All right, the last press kit is East City. Now I just got this morning, so I did a very, let's see. Here we go. Okay, so we'll scan this. This is definitely a graphic design document. Looks nice, right? 2 pages, which is perfect. Again, I looked at this quickly, so let me see here where they are. They're in Washington. That helped because I started reading this page when I printed it first. I didn't know where they were, so it's good to have the first page first. And they're in a very exciting neighborhood. They have a lot of opportunity and access to a lot of different areas and events and partners. So they're highlighting that. One of my comments was down here, you have your venue partners. So if these are all active, meaning you could call them up today and get something going as far as an event, then put them in a more of a like how many seats as these sites can accommodate, or have it on the ready to say to them, because as this is like, if I would just want this broken out, if this is where you've been using the partners that you've been using on the regular, break it out and show proof of where you've events that you've brought there in their productive and successful. That was my one comment really on that page. And then on the back, it was this section here. I really want to know I love this dedicated 400 square feet dedicated event space that can fit up to 85, 130. I would bold this and I would flip this around. I would be very clear about, I would put the square footage on the end, and I would put the attendance, like, dedicated event space, 85 up to 130, and then put the square footage if you want to include that on the end, because they can't visualize it. They can't visualize what 400 square feet is really going to work, 2,500 square feet. Just put them on the end and put this right here of how many people we can actually get into the area. I like all this, that you have the audiovisual, the tech setup ready to go. I think that's helpful for a lot of authors in their presentations. Also, you can leave this off. I mean, it's nice that you have your equipped. I do like that you have the kitchenette ready for late catering. I think that's awesome. So again, if you're looking for, if you can handle authors with food, or you can make an event with a ticket, include food, that's great, and that helps sell more books because it's more of an experience that they have when they come to your store. I really like this. I liked this blocked out, fact about their space and what types of events you can expect that they're looking for. So it's a variety, which is good. So I guess there's a lot to talk about as far as different authors that can come to this store. They host a lot of events, so they're showing me proof that they have the systems in place. With 13 in-store book clubs, and so I would pull out the most successful and let me know what titles are going on, and or have a separate document just on book clubs, because that's a lot, and just find out like if there's something that you want to grow in that, which author you want to bring into that group, you know, have that ready. So again, here they've done a nice job with this chart, okay? So it's not taking over the whole page. They've condensed it. It has all the information needed. They included sales, which I think is very important. I've been back and forth on whether the Presskit should include sales or not include sales. If it's not included, it adds question to the publisher. They're saying, well, what did you sell? And that's what this conversation is about. So include it. And then when they take this document back to their desk, they can still refer to it with accurate data and recall your conversation about what you want to achieve for the new year. And I like how they asked for it, that it was a ticketed event, because if I was going to be building these type of events, I would want to the publisher would want to make sure that they include a book with each ticket. So again, that's proof in the pudding pretty much about their event program. So again, don't get intimidated if you're just starting out. You want to work with what you have and what you can build well. And what you concentrate on for the 2020 year is what you will build. It's the way it happens. So whatever you concentrate on, whatever you want to focus on for your author programs for this coming year, it will grow. Put in the pieces in place, build your press kit with those objectives, and construct your conversation with the publishers with those important milestones that you want to make this year. Okay, I know that one was East City was fairly quick, but I think they've got a lot in good things in place. I think their document is strong. But if there's any other questions from East City that they have, just feel free to hit me an email or text me. Okay, so let's see here. I'm looking in the chat, and let's see. Is Chris or it's thinking? Oh, okay. All right, so he's talking about these programs down here, what types they are. Again, if they're selling books, Chris, then please pull them out and identify them on the press kit. Okay, Chris, thumbs up. All right, Eileen, I'm at the end of my list for submitted press kits. I don't have any more to review that I have. I did come prepared with some befores and afters, but I don't know, I feel like we got 2 minutes to the end of our time, so I feel like I'm going to stop there.
If anyone has any questions, you can type them in the chat box right now, or feel free to email me and or Mary Beth afterwards, and we will answer any questions.
Yep. If you're still working on that press kit, feel free to, there is my contact information. I hope it was helpful, everyone. I appreciate the time.
And thank you to Mary Beth, who has done this for so many years for us and really helps all of us raise the bar for our press kits.
That's the objective, raise the bar. All right, everyone have a good day.
Thank you, everyone.
The recording will be on YouTube in a few days.
Mary Beth, did you see my message?
Hello?
Mary Beth,
Yes.
did you see my message about the PowerPoint?
Thank you for.
You're welcome.
So you have a typo. Oh, I have a typo. Shit.
If you go back right there. No, go for, yeah, still working. You have two.
Okay, this is a PDF. I'll have to change it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I did not even see that when I'm looking at it. I still didn't even see it.
And still working.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, still wrong too.
That's fine. I cannot read all caps.
That's how your brain works when you are still working on your press kit though, so it's okay.
Yes, it is. I was so late on this one. I really was late on this call. Anything else come up? I'm just looking over the chat.
No, it was interesting though about the programs. That's a question I'm sure a lot of people will have, how to design it on what programs. So
yeah, I mean, I really don't want anyone to get held back by that though. I mean, a Word document is fine as long as they're putting in the information and making it easy to read. It really, I hope that came across.
no, it did, but it also is nice for people like myself who are not You know,
Right.
there are programs out there that are easy to use, like Canva, and you just need to hear that they're available to you.
Yes, yes, yes. And I don't know any others other than Canva that's been easy to use. So, I mean,
I
that's
like
something
Word.
that,
Hi, this is Chris from Me City Bookshop.
oh, hi.
Just coming in on this specific discussion. So,
Okay.
because the issues we faced are the ones that y'all are going back and forth on, right? It was only some of us have InDesign at our bookstore,
Yep, yep.
so becomes an issue in terms of who can work on it and implement the changes you were saying. I had one question and one comment. One was, you said in addition to Word and Canva, did you say that you use just like Apple Pages templates?
Yes, the templates in Pages, I've used, I think it's Flyer
Okay.
templates or
Okay.
program. And
Okay.
also, I've also used that for author posters. If for some reason I needed to have like posters distributed through the town, I've
Right.
used that as well, but also Canva. So I think it's good to get used to it. And then you can set up your templates for social media with Canva.
Uh-huh.
And again, you want to have your press kit. I mean, over so many years, you'll want to revamp your template of your press kit, but it's good to have something set up and just quick changes from year to year.
Awesome. Thank you. And then I was going to say, and I don't know if this is appropriate for the full chat in terms of program to use, but if folks have been using, like, let's say Illustrator, another bookstore I worked at, they were often designed in Illustrator or whatever. There's an online program called Figma that's browser-based that lets you do it kind of
Oh,
that sweet spot between what y'all two are talking about, right? One, you can log in, make quick changes and so on. On the other
right.
hand, it's like pretty powerful. So I've been looking at that for our team. That was the only
Oh,
comment.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I mean, share that with the colleagues as well. Like at speed dating, if you see someone that's, kind of looking for that extra step up. I mean, I think the publishers are used to looking at graphically designed, pretty documents, but
Right.
I don't want anyone to not have a press kit because they don't have that.
Right. And then the final question, sorry, I don't mean to monopolize time here.
No, you're good.
Um, for the printout for the press or for the speed dating, as you talked about length several times, and my question is for the two-pager, which we have, do you think we should do 2 pages separate, only on the front and then stapled together, or with a paperclip, or should we do front and back on one
Front and
page?
back for sure. Front and back.
Okay, great.
Definitely.
Thank
Chris, can I say one thing too? I had actually sent a note to Emily and Kate.
you. Right.
The list isn't called, I think you had Book Sense in there,
Uh-huh.
and it's not called Book Sense anymore. It's called the Indie Bestseller List.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, okay, so no longer Book Sense, it's now, and you said which one? It's now,
Indie Bestseller.
okay, fantastic. And then on that note, I know there's some stuff going on with IndieBound at the present moment and the new kind of system. Have y'all heard about that? It's like
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
bookstore.
well, um, you as a store wouldn't direct your customers to Bookshop.
Okay,
You would sign up to be an affiliate of Bookshop to get the business that's coming in from other sources. But
right.
you would continue to promote direct to your website.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Chris, are you the one that had the little paragraph that talked about having open mics?
Yeah.
There's a typo in that line. It says open mic and.
Wait a minute. Let me see here. I thought I saw open mic.
So, were you speaking to me, or was there another person who we had
No, I
looked
was
at?
asking, are you the one that had the paragraph on the top right side of the page that talked about having open mic events?
Yeah, hold on just one second.
Mary Beth, if you pull his up,
I'm looking at the printout right
you had
now.
actually highlighted the section right where the typo is when you were doing your
Yeah.
presentation.
Okay. And then
It
where,
said open mic and.
sorry.
No, it's fine.
And then under which section, I'm sorry, I'm looking at it
There was a
now.
paragraph at the top right portion of the document. So maybe it might not have been yours.
Oh, I can let me pull up
On the screen.
yeah, let me see.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Go to page 2.
Okay.
It's not you.
Okay.
Right,
Thank you.
hold on. Was it Astoria?
Yes, it was Astoria right there. Open Micah and storytelling shows.
Oh, Micah, yeah.
All right, I'll email Lexi right now.
Lexi, yours
By the
are,
way,
yeah.
Chris, I think yours is awesome. I loved looking at yours.
Yeah, really, really great.
From mine, but I've never used it.
We really appreciate that. We're both Kate and I are new to the events team, and I just happen to be the person with InDesign. So for updating
Oh,
it,
so you did it in
yeah,
InDesign, yeah.
So I did it in InDesign. So obviously we're trying to get it ready for the speed dating. So it's really nice to hear that feedback from y'all, and I'm definitely going to look at those points that you raised. So thank you very
Okay.
much.
Yeah. No, I think you really are, you're there. I mean, just some things to switch around. Again, think of the questions that they typically ask you, or they're going to be asking you if you want to, for larger events or wherever direction you want to go with your events.
So just have that information ready. Obviously, as you said, you want to emphasize that as much as possible. You said that in the changes and so on, but also have some kind of plan given the short amount of time that we'll have with publishers to where we can address those questions if they're asking.
Yeah, I mean, I would try to build the document with the questions in mind so make sure your document is asking those questions for the
Okay,
level of event program that you want to develop.
great.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chris, have you been to a speed dating before?
I have not, and I'm actually not going to be participating in this specific one because I'm currently the offsite events manager, and we have an on-site events manager, Kate Patrick, who will be attending with Emily.
Okay.
So yeah, I just put together the graphic design. So,
Well, teamwork.
that's the idea for all of us,
Yeah,
right?
that's the idea. Yeah. Well, maybe one year you can go as the offsite, because I think offsites are just as, as important in the discussion as well. So,
Appreciate
Oh yeah,
that.
lots of publishers are looking for that.
yeah.
They are. So that's
Offsite and bundled ticketed. That is the thing
Yep.
right now.
That's
we're
the
currently
buzzword.
using our social media coordinator and marketing manager is using Eventbrite to, and
Mhm.
that's working for us. I mean, in sense of what you just mentioned, has that been a strong option for y'all in the past?
Yes.
Like,
Um,
okay, great.
There are some publishers who specifically want an offsite ticketing thing. We use a brown paper bag at my store. I think it's what it's called. And but Eventbrite seems to be the other one that's really popular. It's the two of those I constantly see used.
Yep. And then when we were at NAIBA, the NAIBA regional, those were the two that were brought up as well that are, acceptable, and they do the marketing and the efficiency and check-in and record keeping that they need.
Fantastic. All right. I'm going to leave it. Hey, again, so if we hopefully end up making those edits that you mentioned, should I email the new PDF back to both of y'all?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely take a look at it. Yeah,
And
if you
I'll
want to
post
send
it
it,
online.
yep, if you want to send it before you go to the printer, just give me a once over.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'll be happy to do
When
that.
you have the final document, you need to send it to me so I can put it on the website.
Oh, okay. We would love to do so. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. All right, ladies.
Thank you,
you
Mary
very
Beth.
There's a little after party there.
First time we've had that.
First time, right? Right? That's good.
Yep.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you
All right,
very
thanks.
much.
Thank you. Bye.